What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I am your host, James Murphy, and today I don't only have today I have, in regards to talking about the Celtics, I actually have something good, but not just one good thing to talk about. I got two. Yeah, believe it or not, I have two good things to talk about the Celtics. But I will get to that in a few moments later. However, hopefully you're having an excellent midweek so far. It is hump day. We are halfway through the week. Hopefully this episode can get you through the rest of your day. Hopefully Friday's episode will get you through the whole week like Monday did at the beginning. Don't worry, I already did my proper sound check, so I am not recording through the computer's microphone. I am recording through mine, so the audios should be, and is, crisp, clean, clear, everything that you want in a professional podcast. I am recording again in Buffalo, New York, not in my studio, so bear with me as I'm trying to work these little kinks out here in a hotel room, motel, wherever the hell I am staying in. But yes, in regards to the Celtics, do have two good things to talk about, and I want to talk about the Hall of Fame first, and then I'll go into the game last night. So the 2021 class for the NBA Hall of Fame, or just the Basketball Hall of Fame as they call it, the list of inductees came out yesterday, the day before, I believe it was. It was the day before, so it was on Monday. It came out afternoon on Monday, and I just want to talk about it now because we have some good things to talk about in regards to it. So if you haven't seen the list already, there's like 10, 12 players, coaches, contributors that were inducted into the 2021 Hall of Fame, and two of them are former Celtics players, and I obviously want to talk about it since they're Celtics players. One being Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is a 10-time NBA All-Star from 2002 to 2006, and again from 2008 to 2012, and a 2008 NBA champion with the Boston Celtics. Throughout his career, he did play with the Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, and the Los Angeles Clippers. However, in 2008, he was named the NBA's Finals Most Valuable Player. After 19 seasons in the NBA, Pierce ranked 9th all-time in free throws made and three-point field goals made, as well as 19th all-time in NBA scoring with 26,397 points. He was drafted by the Celtics, and Pierce was named a member of the NBA All-Rookie team in 1999. As a Kansas Jayhawk, where he went to school, he was unanimous first-team All-American in 1998. With Inglewood High, Pierce was named California Mr. Basketball and a McDonald's All-American in 1995. His number 34 is retired by the Celtics and the Kansas Jayhawks. So Paul Pierce, more than deserving to be in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think it was really a question. A lot of people thought that it was in question, and I'm not exactly too sure why. He's top 20 all-time in NBA scoring. He's top 10 in free throws and three-pointers made. 10-time All-Star. He's a champion. He's a Finals MVP. I just think the resume is there. I mean, what more do you want from a player? I mean, early in his career, the dude was stabbed 11 times in an alleyway in Boston, and he played that season. He played all 82 games that season. So that just shows his toughness, his grit, and this is just more than deserving for Paul Pierce. For those that had any question about Paul Pierce's Hall of Fame enshrinement, they should probably go pound some sand because they were well wrong with this one. Switching to the other inductee for the Celtics, we have Bill Russell. But pause. Bill Russell has been in the Hall of Fame since 1975. Yes, he has been, as a player. However, in 2021, he's being inducted as a coach. So the NBA does it very odd, where they'll induct a player for a player, and they'll induct a coach as a coach. And if a player and a coach, or if a person held the same position, player and coach, they will induct them twice. Tommy Heinsohn is in the Hall of Fame both as a player and then again as a coach, and a bunch of other players and coaches as well. So anyways, Bill Russell, following the retirement of the legendary Boston Celtics coach Red Auerbach in 1966, Bill Russell became the first black head coach in the NBA. In his second season as player-coach, Russell led the Boston Celtics to the 1968 NBA championship, thus becoming the first black head coach to win an NBA title. The following season, Russell would again lead Boston to the NBA Finals and championship, his 11th and final ring. With the Celtics, Seattle Supersonics, and Sacramento Kings, he compiled an NBA coaching record of 341 and 290, sporting a .540 winning percentage, with a playoff record of 34 and 27, a .557 winning percentage. As a player-coach, Russell was named the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year in 1968. Russell was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame as a player in 1975, and obviously in 2021 he is being inducted as a coach. Honestly, his coaching resume kind of flies over because you kind of think of Red Auerbach as the coach during that time for the Celtics, and you kind of slip about Bill Russell, but you have to look at the facts that he was a really good coach. I mean, he has a winning percentage of over 500 in both the regular season and in the playoffs. He was the first black NBA coach. He was the first black coach to win a championship. I think these are all incredible feats for Bill Russell, and obviously not just as his not being a player, but just looking at his coach, which we're doing here. I think this is very well deserving for him as well. So just to recap really quickly, Paul Pierce being inducted in as a player and Bill Russell being inducted as a coach, more than well-deserving for both of them, and I'm looking forward to their enshrinement and their ceremony next year, I think it is. September 11th, they will be inducted into the Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts, which I went to undergrad out there, and I went to the Hall of Fame a few times, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's so fun. You don't have to love basketball or be an enthusiast of basketball. You just kind of have to know what a basketball is, honestly, and you'll have a great time in there. It really is. It has a little bit of everything for everybody. But let's move over to the big game that the Celtics played last night. And going into this playing game, I did not want to talk about the Celtics at all. Deservingly so. I mean, you got to give me credit. Deservingly so. They lost, let's see. How many games did they lose before the play-in game? If I can only pull it up, standings. Here we go. They lost 4 of 6 going into the play-in game. The Boston Celtics finished the season 36-36, sporting a .500 record. I didn't want to talk about that because they shouldn't be there. They should be closer to the top. Now, I'm not going to say first or second place because that's very challenging, especially with how the 76ers and the Nets have been playing this year. But 3, 4, 5, that's where they should have been, not damn 7 playing in the play-in game. Come on. So anyways, they were in the play-in game. It is what it is, so we got to talk about it. And the Boston Celtics did win 118-100 against the Washington Wizards, a.k.a. the Bullets. So I'll probably be referring to them as the Bullets, their former name, throughout this whole episode because, I don't know. I think the Bullets is a cooler name than the Wizards, but it is what it is. So Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, throughout the entirety of the night, did not play like themselves. And we know that for a fact because Bradley Beal only scoring 22 points, Russell Westbrook only scoring 20 points. I mean, 20 points for Russell Westbrook, I guess, is pretty solid. But 14 rebounds and only 5 assists. I think they'll take the 14 rebounds with the 5 assists. I mean, you're used to seeing this guy drop a triple-double basically night in and night out. Bradley Beal only scoring 22 points. I feel like you always hear about him on the news scoring 30, 40, 50 points for some odd reason. He's a tremendous scorer. But I think for the most part, the Celtics were really able to kind of lock him down and keep him at bay. But someone that the Wizards, or the Bullets, weren't able to keep at bay was Jayson Tatum. My man, JT for 3. Jayson Tatum dropped 50 points last night in 41 minutes. In a 48-minute basketball game, he played 41 minutes, and he had to. I will say if Jaylen Brown was playing, obviously he's injured for 6 months now, but if he was playing, he'd probably play 40 minutes as well. Just a little side note. But Tatum, 50 points, 41 minutes. Unbelievable. It came out of nowhere. I will not lie. I was out at a restaurant for the first half of the game, so I didn't catch all of it. I saw a glimpse of it. And then I got home. I was editing the Buffalo trip vlog part 2. Part 1's coming out soon. Part 2 is in the works right now. And honestly, it didn't feel like Jayson Tatum was scoring 50 points. It was just a silent but deadly 50. But he did it, and he had to do it because, yes, the Celtics won by 18 points, but let's say he only gets 25 or 30. Well, if you do the math, you lost the game because now the Wizards have more points than you. Also, let's talk about other notables from the game. Evan Fournier, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists in 36 minutes. Marcus Smart, 7 points, 6 assists, 2 rebounds in 35 minutes. It was good to see him take a back seat in terms of the scoring. He was exceptional on defense, guarding Westbrook, guarding Beal, just really locking things down, letting the scorers do their thing. Hopefully, Marcus Smart can kind of get through his head his role on the team. Kemba Walker, good to see him perform. 29 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists in 34 minutes. Kemba Walker really had his shot going. His stroke looked really good from beyond the arc. It seemed like, I mean, obviously I'm not going to look into it, but it seemed like every shot Kemba was taking from 3, it was going in. Every shot was a good shot for him, and it's good to see him kind of get that under his feet because he is suspect to going, hot and cold, just like everyone else. But typically Kemba, especially on this team, because of the whole knee issue and, is the contract worth it for Kemba? He's a great locker room guy, but is a locker room guy really going to be worth $30, $32, $34 million? No, but if you're going to get 30 points out of him, then yeah, it's worth it. And then also Tristan Thompson, 12 points and 12 rebounds in 30 minutes. We also saw some good minutes from Romeo Langford and Aaron Nesmith getting some play. I mean, it's not technically a playoff game, but it is playoff-like minutes for them, which is actually really crucial. Rob Williams also got 14 minutes as well. So it was good to see Brad Stevens really shorten the bench up, but also give the young guys some playing time as well. I do believe that Romeo Langford and Aaron Nesmith are going to be the 2 guys moving forward. You may see Peyton Pritchard here and there. I don't really think so. He only had 5 minutes last night. But he is definitely one that you could kind of see him step in and out if needing a ball handler when Kemba Walker may not be in, Marcus Smart, or even Jayson Tatum's not in the game. But as we go into the playoffs, one of them, probably 2 of them at all times, will be in that lineup. So Peyton Pritchard's use isn't really needed for the time being. Also, Grant Williams, Tremont Waters, Carson Edwards, 2 minutes each. You're not going to see these guys in the playoffs at all. You may see Grant Williams a little bit for some reason. I mean, he's just another big guy, and with Rob Williams, Tristan Thompson being your 2 main guys, I'd rather see Grant Williams than Luke Cornett as that third big guy, if I'm just going to be honest. And I really don't want to see Tatum drop down to the power forward or even the center spot, even though he has that size to do so. Another thing that I noticed from this team last night, the Celtics, is they played together ball. And I'll explain that in a minute, but just looking at the Celtics and watching them last night, they seemed like they were a team. They seemed like they wanted to win, and they had that determination. I mean, you could obviously say that they wanted to win when you had Tatum dropping 50. But when I refer to together ball, what I'm saying is there was no hero ball. There was no I'm just going to get the ball, I'm going to shoot it, and that's it. You could make that case for Tatum since he dropped 50, but the team let him drop 50. People were passing him the ball. They were letting him score. He was the hottest hand that whole night. He's hopefully will be a top 5, 10 player in this league. Right now you could probably say maybe top 20. You're going to let that kind of player do that kind of work, especially when they're so hot and they know, what they need to do. So I'm glad that, a player like Marcus Smart took a back seat. Evan Fournier even took a back seat, but he made some buckets when he had to. Kemba Walker almost dropped 30 with his 29. I don't think he took a back seat, but he definitely passed up some shots. So Tatum, who was the hot hand last night, could go off. And it just, whenever there was a player down, 2 guys were always running over to pick them up. After a foul and a bucket, they get the and one. They're always high-fiving them. It's just that's what we've been missing, is that togetherness from the Celtics this whole year. They've been up and down. A lot of rumors about, how Marcus Smart could be a cancer in the locker room. How is Evan Fournier, gelling with the team? Is Tristan Thompson a problem? Is Kemba Walker not worth the $30 million just to be a locker room guy when you're losing by 20 to the Chicago Bulls? I think a lot of those questions, I don't want to say were answered last night, but you could totally see the fact that the Celtics, on their mind, was to win that game with the way they played. Now, it's against the Washington Wizards, which, on the grand scheme of things, they should win. They should beat the Wizards. But on the other hand, they were super hot going into this game. The last 20, they were 15-5, some crazy like that. You can't discount good basketball. You can't. Just like in any sport, hot teams always have an advantage. And going into this game, the Wizards were 6-4, so obviously they're playing a little bit better than you. But we look at the standings like a month ago. This team was towards the bottom, like 14, 13, 12, where the Raptors, the Cavs, and the Magic are. That's where they were. No one was talking about the Wizards sneaking into the play-in games. But here they are. They were cruising. They won their last 2 games of the regular season to get to that play-in game, because if they lost them, they would probably be out, or at least the 10 seed. You had to give the Wizards credit. You had to. And you had to take them seriously, because they had Bradley Beal, who is a dynamic scorer. You hear his name in rumors with a bunch of teams throughout the league in terms of possibly trading for him. Russell Westbrook, which people love to hate on him. I don't know why, but he's a triple-double machine, averaging a triple-double again this year. 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, triple-double. He had a cold night, but you know what? He's not a main scorer. I mean, he's the second scorer for this team behind Bradley Beal, but he still dropped 20 points, which is plenty, I would believe. You know, you get the supporting cast like Ish Smith scoring 12. And as hot the Bullets were going into this game, the Celtics were completely opposite of them, being completely cold heading into this game. So it's nice and refreshing to see the Celtics step up to the stage and bring their A game, which it definitely seemed like it was their A game here against the Bullets, avoiding the next play-in game between now the Bullets and the Pacers, as the Pacers beat the Hornets, so the Hornets are out. I'm looking forward to, you know, what this playoff year has to come. Seriously, I mean, Celtics being the 7th seed shouldn't be there. They are. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. You can only bitch and complain about it for so long, which I have done plenty of times on this show. But we're in the playoffs nonetheless, which is the most important thing. And we will be playing the Brooklyn Nets in the first round. We will be visiting Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. And it's going to be a best-of-7 series that starts on Saturday, May 22nd at 8 o'clock in Brooklyn. What do I expect from this team? Well, the Celtics went 0-3 against the Nets this year. I believe it was 0-3. How much can I really expect the Celtics to do play against these Nets? How high are your expectations for this Celtics team? Now, I really hope that a bunch of the green teamers out there that love the Celtics, think that there's nothing wrong with the Celtics, are looking at the reality of this, where they could easily get swept by the Nets. They could easily get absolutely torched by these Nets in 4 games. Luckily, it's a best-of-7. So if you squeak out a win here and there, you're not looking too bad. Now, Kyrie, I would say, is a generally good playoff performer. He hit that clutch shot in the Warriors-Cavaliers final series like 5 years ago. Kevin Durant won 2 chips with the Warriors. Was injured last year, so we won't know. How's he going to play without Steph Curry? How's Kyrie going to be without LeBron? And then here comes James Harden from Houston, where every year he chokes in the semi or the conference finals. As good as those 3 are, I still have question marks about their depth, their bench, possible role players, because they traded a bunch of them away when they brought in James Harden. I mean, I still think the Nets are a fantastic team, and everyone's picking them to make it out of the East, and they easily could with that cast of star talent, Kyrie, Durant, and Harden. But if they lose a game or 2, whether it's to the Celtics or not, I mean, obviously they're playing the Celtics now, but let's say the next round or whatever, they could easily collapse, because they're going to be pointing fingers. This is not how it's done. This is how I do it. And, you know, this is how we should be doing it. Pass me the ball, and then this, and then that. It's like you have 3 alpha dogs on that team. It can work, yes. It can work. But will it? When they face adversity and they face trouble, how are they going to respond? And can the Celtics give it to them? I don't know. If they had Jaylen Brown in this series, I'd feel a little bit more optimistic about it. But they don't. And obviously that's no one's fault. I'm not going to blame Jaylen Brown for not being able to play. But these are things you have to consider. They don't have their second best player, the Celtics, in Jaylen Brown. And you can't expect Tatum to drop 50 points every night because on the other side, KD, Harden, or Kyrie could drop 50 points, and therefore that be a wash. Realistically, I don't know about these Celtics. Is Nets in 6 generous? Because I don't know if the Celtics can win. I really don't. And I'm trying to be optimistic and I'm trying to be positive about it because, you know what? We're in the playoffs. We won the playing game. The regular season was a little disappointing, but hey, clear mindset. Let's reset the whiteboard and then look ahead. Anything can happen in the playoffs. And that's generally true, but I think in the NBA playoffs where it's a little bit more rigged, and I'm not going to get into that now. I feel like that's a topic for another day because I do want to get into the Bruins in a few moments. But I don't know. I think I think the Nets in 6, I think is generous for the Celtics. I think it's realistic. I could see the Nets in 5. I don't think the Celtics will get swept. I don't think so. But no more than 5 or 6 games for the Nets. I think the Brooklyn Nets will take care of business. They're 28-8 at home. Struggle a little bit more on the road at 20-16. Yeah, struggle, right? Celtics 21-15 at home, 15-21 away. The Nets have home court advantage. So let's just even hypothetically say the series goes 7 games. The Nets will, by odds, walk away with the series, obviously, since they'll have 4 games in their home arena and the Celtics will only have 3. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting. Games 1 and 2 will definitely tell us a lot. Like I said, Game 1 on Saturday, May 22nd at 8 p.m. Can't wait to talk about it as Monday's episode rolls around from Murph's Boston Sports Talk. But the Bruins. Can we transition to the Bruins, please? Because that game, I think, aged me a couple years. Holy smokes, that game was fantastic. Now, this game was something else. Bruins score first, Caps score, Bruins score, Caps score. And then the Capitals score not early, but like 12 or so minutes left in the third period, I believe. And then it's like, oh, you have all this. No, don't do this. You have this time, but these 12 minutes are going to go by so quick. And scoring a goal in the National Hockey League is rather difficult. And then they do it. Then Taylor Hall nets a puck with 2 minutes to go in the third period to force overtime. Oh, it was a thing of beauty. The Bruins applied most insane pressure I've seen, I think, in a long time. I know I kind of talked about their pressure a week or 2 ago, maybe. But this was something else. It felt like the puck was always in the Capitals' end. Every single possession felt like it was the Bruins in the Capital net. Capitals had a couple scoring chances here in the third, but not nearly as many the Bruins did. Let me go into some facts real quick. Patrice Bergeron scored a goal. Jake DeBrusk scored his second goal of the series. Taylor Hall scored, and Brad Marchand scored as well for the Bruins. The Capitals, you had 2 goals from Garnett Hathaway and 1 from TJ Oshie. But Taylor Hall's big goal, he had 7 shots on goal, by the way, which led the team, which it should. I think it should. I mean, he's a fantastic, player. He's a MVP caliber player, former MVP in this league. He can put the puck on the net. He can score. He's fancy. He's got these interesting moves. And it's just like, oh, my God. That pile-up in front of Anderson, in front of the Capitals net, where it was just like Krejci, Smith, McAvoy comes flying in, getting pushed over so that he was being pushed and hit the goalie so that eliminates goaltender interference. And then after the first initial shot, Taylor Hall swoops back around and just, kind of kicks it under Anderson where his legs were open to score the game-tying goal. It was just, oh my goodness. The energy was just through the roof. And then intermission for the overtime period. And then 39 seconds into OT, Bruins score. Brad Marchand nets a goal. Nice clean little pass. I forget who it was from. I think it was from Matt Grzelcyk. He had 2 assists that game. Yes, and he was on the post-game interview for, assisting on 2 goals. Grzelcyk, at the top, fakes a shot a little bit, passes it off to Marchand, and Marchand one-times it past Greg Anderson. Absolute thing of a beauty. Must must-win game. Game 2 was a must-win game. And I've talked about how Game 1 was a must-win game. The way it played out, Game 1 was just the same. Obviously, being down 0-1 in the series, this game holds more weight than Game 1 did. But winning this game, Game 2, stealing home ice from the Capitals, absolutely massive. You go back to Boston, tied 1-1. Capitals could easily steal it right back from you, going up 2-1, 3-1, worst case scenario. You could also go up 2-1 or even 3-1, best case scenario, right? A lot of things can change now that the series is tied 1-1. The series moves from best of 7 to best of 5, with the first 2 games being decided 1 apiece. I'm super excited about this series. This series is living up to all expectations I think that everyone had going into it. The Capitals, the Bruins, hockey. It's just pure hockey from these 2 teams. Capitals still trying to play their game, but the Bruins in Game 2, I felt like adjusted and was able to shift the momentum of the game, where they were able to play a little bit more of their style instead of having to catch up and change to the Capital style. That hitting, that rough and rowdy, that rah that I mentioned in Monday's episode. But the Bruins were able to kind of slow things down, speed things up, and play to their style as well, which worked a lot in their favor because they kind of had to in order to at least tie this game, let alone win it. I don't know. The Capitals seemed like, they kind of slipped up in this game. I think they had opportunities to go up 4-2 at plenty of points. Earlier in the game, they had opportunities to score. I think Tuukka Rask was very good, stopping 36 shots on 39 attempts, only giving up those 3 goals. And I was mentioning to Kim during the game is that I mentioned this during the recording on Monday, actually, how Greg Anderson has like 20 shots through the first period, and then we got to get this dude up into the 40s. You have to pile on the shots. You have to. This dude is almost 40 years old. He's played 4 games, I guess now 5 games this whole year. You have to apply the pressure on this guy. You have to take advantage of the fact that their backup goalie is in, their 4th goalie of the season is in. You have to apply the pressure. And I said that on Monday's episode 51 of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. Oh, I just hit my mic, sorry. I was also talking about to Kim after I was done recording, those shot attempts go up into 30s, and next thing you know, you're looking at low 40s. Bruins walk away with 48 shot attempts, where Anderson saves 44, giving up 4 goals. At that point, if you're going to shoot the puck almost 50 times, you have to win. You have to win. There's a dramatic difference between 48 shots and 39 shots, and I think any goalie will tell you that. I think the defense would also tell you that as well. When you're putting the puck on net almost 50 times, 6 from Bergeron, 5 from DeBrusque, 7 from Hall, 5 from Marchand, 4 from Pasternak, 5 from McAvoy, and then a bunch of other players having 1 or 2 or whatever. Those are games you have to win. And the Bruins buckled down. They laid the pipe and did it. And that was a tremendous game by the Bruins. That shows me hope, confidence, optimism, faith that they can actually do this. Because at the beginning of the series, I was on the edge. Could the Bruins do it? Could they not? The series could go both ways. Bruins kind of looking like they might be able to now that the series shifts back to Boston and it's tied 1-1. A lot of things to look forward to in this series. And I'm really excited for Game 3 tonight in Boston. Kim and I will be at a bar, brewery, pub, something for the game. I don't know. But we are excited for the game. It is, I don't want to say it's a must-win. Obviously, every game in the playoffs is a must-win. But in comparison to Game 2, this game isn't as much as a must-win. But it's still a crucial game, obviously, because it's Game 3 of the playoffs and you're now at home. And you have to win. So, things I'm looking for in Game 3 is the amount of intensity that the Bruins play with and the amount of pressure that they can get on Greg Anderson. I think if they can keep up that pressure, I don't know about 48 shots. I mean, holy smokes, that's crazy. But if they can get those shot numbers up into the 40s again and just keep slapping shots, even if you know they're going to be saved and there's nothing else developing on offense, it's just pounding the dude with the puck, making him work for it, getting him tired. He's 39 years old. I mean, just put the puck on the net. That's one thing I'm looking forward to in this game. Another thing, slowing down the Capitals, because the Capitals love to play, like I mentioned, that rough and rowdy, rah. Physical. I'm going to hit you into the boards. I'm going to, knock you down. That's their play style. They have the players to do that. But I think if you can kind of play your style rather than their style, like the Bruins did in Game 2, especially in that third period, Bruins will have a significant advantage over them. And I really think that that's a major key to why they won this game. Switching the momentum of the game, because in Game 1, you could easily tell that the Capitals were playing their play style. And it obviously showed up on the scoreboard as they won. You played your play style, and you could see it on the scoreboard as they won. So being able to slow the game down, but also speed it up at the same time, avoid the hits or give them out when needed, I think is also going to be a major key, along obviously taking the hits from the Capitals and, giving it right back, making them work more for it than you are. And then third point I'm looking forward to is scoring. I mean, you have to be able to put the puck in the net in order to win the game. You're getting goals from those that should. Bergeron, Hall, Marchand. It'd be nice to see Krejci get one. Jake DeBrusk, he's gotten 2 goals in 2 games, 1 in each. So it's nice to see him, picking up the scoring, because he has struggled in the playoffs before. Last year, the Cup run, even the year before, when the Bruins lost to the Lightning, I believe. I think it was in the semifinals like 3 years ago. So we've seen DeBrusk struggle in years past, but it's good to see him kind of maybe get some momentum to maybe play like that. Obviously, he's on the third line now, but like that second line winger that we thought he was going to be, maybe. But those are the 3 points that I'm looking forward to the most in this game. I'm really excited for the Bruins game tonight. I'm in such a good mood because the Bruins are playing tonight. Series tied 1-1. The Celtics won the play-in game. I mean, you know how I feel about the play-in game, seriously. And I'm not going to talk about the Red Sox, though. They lost to the Blue Jays 8-0, I think it was. Let me just look it up real quick. I'm not going to talk about it. Yeah, they lost to them 8-0 last night. Quick standing check. They are half a game up on the Blue Jays for first place. And, oh my goodness, 1 game up on the Rays and a game and a half up on the Yankees. Holy smoke, that division is good. That division is good. Might be the best division in baseball. Just quickly scrolling through, I would say so far. I mean, Orioles are only 7 games out. Seems like it's a tremendous long shot for the Orioles at this point, but it's only 7 games out. Like I mentioned on a few podcast episodes ago, if you're within 6, 7, 8 games out, you're still in it. You really are still in it. But I'm not going to talk about the Red Sox because playoff basketball, playoff hockey is here. And the Red Sox season is long and tedious. I could talk about the Celtics game in and game out, but I don't really know if that's what you guys like. But definitely let me know on social media at Murphs_BostonST, where the ST stands for Sports Talk. And if you're listening or watching on YouTube, definitely comment down below. If you want me to talk more about the Red Sox, games here and games there, whenever I'm recording and the Sox play the night before or whatever, I'll gladly talk about it. But I'd rather talk about the Red Sox in bunches here and there, because from talking about them one day to the next episode of the show, not much could change. But I mean, when you lose 6-5 to the Angels on Sunday and then 8-0 to the Blue Jays, losing these games is going to catch up to you, especially when the division is so tight and close. But we'll definitely talk more about the Red Sox on Friday's edition. Hopefully we'll have some good news to talk about in regards to the Bruins, hopefully potentially winning Game 3 tonight. And the Celtics Nets preview as well. Not much to talk about the Patriots. Obviously, it's the middle of their offseason. Rookie camp is underway, though. Mac Jones, maybe future of the quarterback for the Patriots. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see on that. We have plenty of time to tell. But yes, Celtics won 118-100 last night, beating the Wizards, the Bullets, in the play-in game. Bruins, Capitals, Game 3 tonight at the Garden in Boston, and the Red Sox will be back in Toronto for Game 2 of their little 3-game series up north in Canada. First pitch at 7:37. But guys, girls, everybody out there, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. Thank you so much for joining me, as it is Monday. We are halfway through the week, as the locals like to call it, Hump Day, until the next episode on Friday. But between now and then, You know I love you, and I will see ya.